What's going on, guys? Aaron from Top Tier Gaming here, and today I'm going to be doing sort of a hand test video and sort of a how to combo with Madolche video. I did one of these a few months back, but it's been a while and the list has changed a lot. I do think that the list is going to change some more, especially with the ban list coming up so closely, but I don't think the core of this list is going to change almost any for the ban list coming up, so this video should be relevant past that, and that's what I really like. So yeah, I'm just going to draw some hands, sort of play them out, maybe through some interruption, go first, go second, sort of show you guys what Madolche can do with this list. If you want to see what list I am playing, it's very similar to the last deck profile I uploaded, which wasn't actually a deck profile. It was sort of a deck in theory video, which I will link down below. But without further ado, let's get into some test hands. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle this up. Draw a hand of 5 cards going first and see what we can get. So Madolche is a deck that I think has some not so intuitive combo lines where you kind of have to already know what you're doing before you go into it, because it's not a very straightforward combo in my opinion. So I will explain it as I go along. But also Madolche is a deck that it lives life on razor's edge as far as hand traps are concerned, because it doesn't lose to go second cards like Droplets and Dark Ruler like a lot of combo decks do, but it does not like hand traps at all. So let's go ahead and draw our first hand here. We're going to see Herald of Orange Light, a Petting Cessor, a Pot of Prosperity, a Salon, and another Prosperity. So obviously the double Prosperity kind of stinks, but when I look at this hand, there's a few things going on in my mind. One, Petting Cessor's full combo, but Petting Cessor and Salon is even better. However, we have this Orange Light to protect us from hand traps, right? So the first thing going through my mind is I need another fairy that isn't Petting Cessor for this Orange Light, so we can play around Ash or Nibiru later in the combo or something like that. So even though we open full combo with Petting Cessor, I'm going to start this turn off with Prosperity, and a lot of your extra deck is just completely useless. So we're going to go ahead and banish 6, which are these, a Baguska, that's 5. I'm going to leave the Rafflesia in deck just in case we draw Magdalene, because we have Salon, so Rafflesia will stay. And I want to keep the Zeus just in case as well, so it's either a Chocolate or a Sistart, and I'm going to banish the Sistart. I almost never make the second one, so we're going to banish these 6 for Prosperity. And I'm banishing 6 because we have the Luxury too, and I really want to see something that negates a hand trap, right? So we're going to reveal 6, actually the third Prosperity, that's kind of funny. A Petting Cessor, so that works. Messenger Lotto, Never, and Jelly, Hoop Cake, and Chalice. So we can do one of two things. We can grab the Angeli, which is good, or the Petting Cessor. Honestly, since I want to make sure this Petting Cessor resolves, I'm just going to grab another copy of Petting and leave the Angeli in deck. Because there is a way where you grab Angeli, you special Petting Cessor, and you can just, like, if she gets negated, you don't have to Orange Light, you can just keep playing. But I want to make sure this Petting Cessor resolves for this combo, so we're going to start with Salon, and the reason you start with the Madolche spell first is so that if it gets, like, Ogred or Gammaed, you're going to get something out of it. So next we're going to activate Petting Cessors because we have no monsters in our grave. Special alert, activate her effect. Let's say they Ash Blossom here, or Veiler. We're going to go ahead and use our Orange Light on our Petting Cessor, and we just played around a hand trap, so that's very, very good. Because again, we don't lose to go second cards, we lose to hand traps if we're going to lose to anything. So we play a lot of outs for the situations where a hand trap would get us. So we're going to special the Pudding Cess, and this is going to be the standard one card like full combo, so except it's a little better because we open Salon. If you don't open Salon, it's not going to be as good as this, but essentially it's just one additional spell, right? So we're going to make the Teacher. What's interesting about the way we have this set up, because we use the Orange Light, we don't actually have to use Teacher's effect here, but because I do want to show you guys the full combo, I'm just going to do the combo as you're supposed to if you aren't lucky enough to Orange Light a hand trap and just see where you go from here. So what you would normally do is you would activate Teacher, detaching the Petting Cessor to target herself, and then you're going to overlay for the Chocolate a la Mode, and you're going to activate a la Mode's effect to shuffle back Petting Cessor here. So Salon's mandatory, so it's going to be Chainlink 1, and then we're going to activate Chocolate as Chainlink 2 because a Madolche was sent from the deck, or from the grave, or anywhere to the main deck, so Chocolate can proc. It's going to proc and special summon Angeli, and then Salon is going to go ahead, it can do a couple of different things. If we're afraid of hand traps, still we set the Promenade, which you're going to end up doing a lot, but for comboing, if you feel like if this is Designator or another way to stop hand traps, or you feel pretty confident you're safe to keep comboing, you go ahead and you can grab ticket, which we're going to set. There is reason not to set the ticket and set Chateau instead. Yeah, I've actually been more leaning on the line of setting Chateau. So we're going to set Chateau. And then Angeli's going to activate, tribute herself. And this entire combo is just off of Pet Accessor and technically Salon, but Pet Accessor gets you this whole combo as well. So that's one of the things about Madolche that's super, super good is one card combos just lead so far. We're going to activate Hoot Cake, and I'm going to banish the Pet Accessor because we have the luxury of her already being in grave. And we're going to use Hoot Cake to special summon Messengelato. And Messengelato is going to activate, and we're going to grab Chateau. By Chateau, because we already said it, we're actually going to grab the ticket, where I just have no idea where it is. Ticket's actually at the top of our deck here. We're going to grab the ticket. And the reason I wanted to not have the ticket earlier is because ticket is mandatory, and the way it plays with chocolate and ticket when you're specialing Messengelato is very, very weird. So I'm just going to try to avoid that at all costs. I'm going to actually activate the Chateau here, which you don't have to do. It's just that ticket's really weird, and I guess I should show it for the combo video since ticket has to be chain link 1. Gosh, I just don't want to, because what I want to do with the ticket, and the reason I'm not going to activate it, is I want to actually search Magellan with the ticket. So also this Hoot Cake should be in defense, especially your Hoot Cake in defense if you're going first, because he's going to stay on the field most of the time. We're not going to activate the ticket yet because I want to special Messengelato and get his effect, so these two are going to go back to the deck. And then Chocolate is going to activate, detaching the Pudding Cess. And we're going to special Messengelato and activate his effect to add the Promenade. So there's the Promenade. We're going to go ahead and set that. So in this situation, Hoot Cake isn't going to stay on the field because of the way we wanted to get our other Messengelato search. But now we can activate the ticket. And you can normally do this first and then just special like 2 different monsters. But I wanted to specifically search Magellan, so that's why we have to do it this way. We're going to take both of our Messengelatos and overlay Teacher. And then we are going to take both of these Madolche monsters, and we are going to make the Sistart. So now because a Madolche monster was sent to the graveyard when you linked for Sistart, Glass Soufflé is going to activate her effect, and she's going to target 2 cards in either graveyard and return them to the deck. So I'm going to actually target the Herald of Orange Light and the Hoot Cake, because Hoot Cake is pretty decent. And because we have Chateau on the field, these actually go back to our hands. And we did not actually normal summon this combo, and because a Madolche monster was sent to our hand or deck by a card effect, being the Hoot Cake that got added back, we're going to search off of the ticket. Now we could special summon here, but I want to search because again we're going for Magellan. And then from this point we're going to use Salon's effect to extra normal and make the Magellan summon here and use Magellan's effect to search. Now we can search follow up here, or since we can actually still use our regular normal summon, we can go search another Magellan. We just don't have another rank 4. Like, I don't want to make a Tiramisu turn 1, but you can see how amazing this would have been going second too, right? But we could add Magellan here and just get the summon, or we can just go ahead and search the follow-up. If I had another Madolche rank 4 I wanted to make, like maybe, but I'm going to go ahead and search Angeli to our hand. Again, we haven't used our regular normal summon this turn, but there's also just like no reason to. And so you end off of essentially just 1 card. Well, with the Salon, which helps you get just everything a little easier. Without Salon, you don't actually like get the ticket, or you don't get a search of your choice, but that's why you want to open like a play with a Madolche spell most of the time. So what you end with is a Sistart that is just very hard to get rid of because you have 2 Madolche monsters in your graveyard, a Glass Soufflé, which is a double DD Crow that can make something unaffected by monster effects. You have an Omni Negate that is a lot of follow-up, and you have this Orange Light. And what's interesting about this Orange Light is with Glass Soufflé and Chateau on the field, if you use Orange Light pitching Angeli, Soufflé will proc, and then you can actually target the Orange Light and the Angeli in your grave to add them back to hand. You essentially have 2 Orange Lights, which is very, very good. So you either get 1 Orange Light and a double DD Crow, which the double DD Crow you would want for like Phantom Knights, or any graveyard reliant decks, but you might want double orange light for Sword Soul or something like that. So you have a lot of options here, and this is going to save you from anything like Dark Ruler or Draw Blitz, which is why this deck doesn't lose to any of that. It loses to hand traps, and 1 Promenade is 2 Promenade because of Salon. But yep, that is it for the first combo. I did explain that one a little more thoroughly just because it was the first one for the video. The rest will just be sort of thoughts and how to play around stuff and more quickly doing the combo. I just want to make sure everyone knew the combo fairly well before we go into the rest of it. So we're going to give this deck another quick shuffle here and see where we go from next point, which we're going to try to do a go second hand here, which is, you know, hopefully our deck appreciates the thought that we want to go second, and it gives us some go second cards because, you know, if you draw all engine, you can break boards, but Madolche essentially, like 2 hand traps without the assistance of like Called By or Cross Out Designator or Orange Light is probably just the end. Like Ash, Imperm stop a lot of decks, but it definitely stops Madolche. And recently I took out the Triple Tactics talents for Chalices, so we will not have the chance to draw 2 here if we do pretend we get interrupted. So we're going to pretend this is a go second hand. We're going to start with a Petting Cessor, which is fantastic, Promenade, and we're going to draw a, this card is not fantastic, a Messenger Lotto, a Salon, another Petting Cessor, my goodness, and a Small World. So they set up a board, right, and we got to play through some negate. So my first mind set is playing through stuff. Now there's a couple things this hand can do that we're going to want to try and succeed with. So it depends what interrupts they have, right? But at this point, Petting Cessor is going to get got by like a back row or an Ash or something. So what we're going to do first is we're actually going to activate Small World. And Small World is going to maybe bait an Ash. I doubt it. They're probably not going to use anything on this, but we're going to get rid of the second Petting Cessor. And Petting Cessor is going to go ahead and link to Hoot Cake in our deck because they only share Earth. And Hoot Cake is going to lead to Pankratops, who's an amazing go second card and is really going to help us play around stuff going second. So those get banished face down. So here's the interesting thing with Pankratops and Petting Cessor is they can definitely conflict quite a bit. Also, Pankratops, I've been actually considering cutting. It's like one of the best middle ground links and like a bridge for Small World, but I just really don't like drawing it going first game 1. However, Pankratops is really good if you lose the die roll, right? So maybe he's definitely worth keeping in here. I've just had some unfortunate hands where I see him and like unplayable, but Pankratops here is going to be amazing. So you have a couple of options. If you special the Pankratops instantly and he gets outed or you have to chain him, then your Petting Cessor is not a starter. So unfortunately here, I'd rather take the bait that they're going to do something to this Petting Cessor than lose her altogether. So we're going to special the Petting Cessor, activate her effect, and we'll say she got either, you know, Chi-Shelled or Impermed. Her effect was negated. So next we're going to go ahead and special the Pankratops, assuming they have more than just 1 card on the field. And we're going to activate Salon. Now, Salon means if they ever out this with something like Blackout maybe, if we are playing against something like Sword Soul, then Salon can get a proc off of it. Or they just can't target the Pankratops at all, which you wouldn't want to target Pankratops anyways. But we're going to use Salon's extra normal summon to to normal summon Messenger Lotto. So this is really good because we have 2 level 4s that could be a rank 4. If they want to activate anything that we can like chain to, then Pankratops is really good there. But more than likely, we just need to activate the Pankratops to out a threat. So we've played around a threat, which is either a back row or a monster negate, and like an Imperm or a Veiler. So that's 2 things we have sort of interrupted here. And now we're going to overlay the Petting Cessor. And because she was negated, we have a couple of options here. Unfortunately, we do not have a Madolche Speller Trap in our graveyard, so Tiramisu will not help us here. But we can still go for the Teacher, activate Teacher's effect, sending Messenger Lotto, and then activating Teacher's other effect to put Messenger Lotto and one of their cards in the graveyard back to the deck, so we could either stop follow-up, or we could you know, get a threat out of their grave for next turn, which is, again, just helping us play through stuff. And because of that, Salon is actually going to activate. And because we already have the Promenade, we're kind of going to telegraph we have Promenade, which stinks, but, you know, what can you do? We're going to grab the Ticket, and that's going to help with our Promenade next turn, because if we don't fully out their board, Ticket is really going to be helpful here. So we're going to go ahead and activate the Ticket, and then we're going to make Chocolate. And what's really nice here is we did not resolve Petting Cessor's effect, so we're not locked out of, you know, anything that's not a Madolche monster. So we're going to make Chocolate. She's 25. We're going to overlay Gaia Dragon, and we're going to swing at one monster we can, maybe inflict some piercing damage, and then we're going to make Zeus. Now, obviously, we have a bunch of spells on the field that we don't want to lose, but we're going to get the value out of them either way, I think. So we set the Promenade, and what we did was we played through like 2 interrupts, and we swung over something, and we outed a card in their graveyard, potentially. We have a 2-send Zeus and a Promenade to protect it. So if they like start their turn with a way to negate Zeus, you negate that with... I just realized we didn't set up anything for Promenade, which is unfortunate. So what you can do here is... don't do what I did. You might want to play this differently now that I'm realizing we don't have a Madolche monster in graveyard. Definitely what you do, and where I messed up, this is fixable. You don't activate the Teacher's Effect to shuffle back. You just leave the Messengerlotto in your graveyard, and you don't get the ticket, which is like unfortunate, but that's fine. It gives us a Promenade. And then we just like can Promenade back the Messengerlotto to our hand to negate anything that would affect the Zeus. There's really no point to... I mean, you can activate Salon, but there's really no point because you're probably going to use 1 or 2 of your Zeuses that turn. And that was like a decent go second hand there. We only had Pankratops as like a hard go second card, but our engine, I think, was pretty good that game and sort of dealing with their plays, even though we didn't open, spectacular for go second. So the deck definitely has plays going second. Small World is such a powerful card, which is something I talk a lot about in my theory video that I recently uploaded, where there's just so many cool things you can do with the Small World that I love. And my side deck has sort of changed a lot based on Small World, because it is such a big part of the deck. So that was sort of in a hand going second. I think that was definitely winnable going second against many, many opponents, because even if we don't make like the Zeus play, we have the Promenade for like follow-up, and it's really good. And Pankratops is usually just such a good card going second. He probably did a lot there. Again, let's see our hand here for go first. We of course drew the Messengerlotto, why wouldn't we? Ash, Magdalene, and Valor. So we drew like 2 1-of hand traps, so this is actually a better like go second hand almost, but it's not because hand traps are just so bad in Madolche. So this is a brick, technically. Magdalene is full combo, right? Like this is full combo, it's like your best combo, but if you open a hand that's just like lose to Ash Blossom, in my opinion, that's kind of a brick. So your bricks are unplayable and lose to 1 Ash Blossom. But saying, this doesn't get stopped, Magdalene is full combo, and you actually end with like Chateau, and you can use these hand traps. You can use Valor multiple times, and it's really, really good because you end with the full board. So unfortunately, that hand was kind of weaker. We drew Orange Light with no Fairy, which means we just lose to 1 Ash, and that stinks. We drew 2 1-of hand traps there that are mostly for Small World and Crossout Designator. And we drew the Messengerlotto. So like 3 quote-unquote bricks and Orange Light, which was kind of a brick. But if we don't get hand trapped, that hand is actually just so gas. So it wasn't a great hand because it loses to 1 Ash, but it was still full combo if you're talking about just like the consistency of your deck. And sometimes you're going to draw the Small World targets or the Crossout Designator targets, but what can you do? We're going to draw Promenade, Salon, Hoot Cake. Okay, looking at this initially, I do not have high hopes for this hand. Nibiru and Salon. The chosen hand. So what's funny about this is we can actually normal summon Salon, normal summon Hoot Cake, set Promenade, right? And what this can act like, this can sort of act like Nibiru Imperm. Like, if you played the game a lot, you know that Nibiru Imperm cracks almost any board. So we can say, like, that Sword Soul go for, like, full combo, right? And they go Chi-Xiao and Baron. Like, they've used their summons, they burn for 12, and they go Baron. They've done more than 5 summons, right? And, like, that's their turn. We can activate the Nibiru, and they're going to Baron negate, and we're going to activate the Promenade and bounce this back to hand. Still Nibiru their board while keeping our Hoot Cake. And then Salon is actually going to set like a ticket or another Promenade, probably another Promenade with the way this hand looks. But what's funny is this hand's actually not terrible because we have like Nibiru Promenade. So if they want to actually like pop your face down with Baron first, you just negate the Baron anyways and it's the same thing. So, well, that hand wasn't good. It was playable go second as well. Go second, we actually draw a Pankratops, so that's actually really good because if we can get Pankratops engraved, then Hoot Cake is a live starter. But I actually don't think that hand was as bad as it looked at the start because I think that Nibiru, as long as you're playing against a deck where Nibiru's good, that hand was going to play and it was probably going to stop him, and I think we actually had a really good chance to win that game. So going on into another test hand here, I just like playing this deck a lot. You actually have to think with this deck. The combos aren't like so laid out that, you know, Konami essentially said to do it like this, like they did, but the deck is so weird. Like its combos aren't like Sword Soul where everything links to the next. You actually have to know what you're doing with this deck before you go into it, which I quite like. I'm going to draw the Impermanence, the Pankratops. I'm drawing this card as a one of more than my starters right now, which is hilarious. A Salon, a Promenade, and an Angeli. So, woo, this hand going first or second is super good. Going first, it stinks a little because, again, we didn't draw our cross-out designators, we didn't draw our called by, we didn't draw Small World so we can extend. This is a hand where, again, Ash Blossom stinks, but I think we have so much like good stuff with it that even if we were to get negated, it's fine. Let's see this hand going second, actually. So, everyone's favorite, Messenger Gelato, but going second, I think this is actually good. We can Imperma Threat, which is always nice, and we can special the Pankratops instantly, and just sort of use it to out another threat. So we play around 2 cards here as well, 2 negates, which if your opponent has more than that, like, it's going to be hard to break with how much engine we have, but it's actually just pretty good here because we also have Angeli. So we're gonna activate Salon going second here, activate its effect to normal summon Angeli, which again, if this was a go first hand like we opened it, I showed the standard combo in the first hand, and this leads to, again, the exact standard combo as like opening Petting Successor just about. So yeah, it's like the same. So this is full combo going first, but it's more interesting going second, I think. So we are going to use Angeli's effect and special the Petting Successor, because this is just going to put another body on the field. We're going to use the Petting Successor's effect. Now we are going second, so the point of this is more or less to out their board, but with Petting Successor we can go into, of course, Pudding Cess, and I'm actually going to use the extra, I might have used the extra normal for that, but we're going to use our regular normal for this, and we're going to take the Messenger Gelato and the Pudding Cess, and we're going to make Tiramisu. Because the point here is to, what am I doing? Making Tiramisu. The point is to out their board, right? So we played through 2 negates, and now we can just break their board with Tiramisu. So we can send Messenger Gelato and send just the Messenger Gelato to spin another card they control back to the deck. And then Salon's going to activate, even if we don't want it to, Salon's going to activate here. That's just the way it works. So we're going to set Chateau off of the Salon because, again, I've just been liking setting Chateau over Ticket. You can do it both ways, and it's normally fine, but yeah, it's just kind of how I've been feeling. And the reason we didn't send 2 back to Shuffle 2 is because now we're going to use Teacher. And it's just full combo from here, right? Like, we've outed 3 cards, or maybe another negate even, depending on how they did it. And now you just get to full gas and probably OTK them. Yeah, you definitely get to OTK through a clear field with this hand. So, yeah, I think this hand was also good going second. I mean, Imperm Pankratops, of course, it's good going second. And it's full combo going first, but if you get stopped going first, you just set, like, Imperm and Promenade and just double, like, you use 2 negates, so the board's not going to be that great. And you probably got your Salon effect as well, or you will with the Messenger Gelato. More importantly, you have Pankratops for the crackback, so that's pretty good. So, yeah. Going on into maybe the last test hand. Yeah, we'll say this is the last test hand. I've definitely shown what the deck sort of draws like and what it can do, although we've seen Pankratops an obscene amount of times for him being a 1-of in a 42-card deck. I just kind of want to draw another standard hand, or really like a Rafflesia hand. A Rafflesia hand would be nice here, which is the 2-card combo between Magdalene and Salon. So I'm going to draw Herald of Orange Light. Okay, we might shuffle this back for another one, because I feel like I've seen this hand too many times. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. This hand, if we see Salon, is the hand. So we're going to activate Prosperity and hope we can see the Salon combo, because that'd be pretty cool. So we're going to banish 6. We're going to banish the Zeus, the Gaia. We're going to leave the Rafflesia in case we can get to that. Baguska, these cards. So banish 6. And we want to see Salon here, or otherwise we might just draw a different hand. Orange Light, I mean, that's really good, because now we have a negate for our Magdalene. Where are you, Salon? We found it, boys. We did it. We're grabbing Salon here. That was actually a really good Prosperity, to be honest. So what we're going to do here is we're going to activate Salon, use the extra normal summon to normal summon Madolche. So Madolche here, I would normally search an additional copy of Madolche, use my regular normal summon on it, and then search the Petting Cessor. But because we drew a Messenger Lotto, we are just going to instantly search Petting Cessor here. So this play is going to work like the same, but yeah, because I want this Messenger Lotto kind of out of my hand, we're just going to go ahead and do it like this. So I'm going to use my regular normal summon on the Messenger Lotto, and then I'm going to special summon the petting. Ooh, no. It just kind of stinks because Messenger Lotto is going to end up being under the Rafflesia, but that's just how we're going to have it. It's better than it being in hand, in my opinion. Because if we end up needing to use the Rafflesia, then we'll detach the Messenger Lotto. So now we make Rafflesia for the Gravedigger trap hole we have in our, we're just going to activate that here, in our deck. So that's going to help us play around Nibiru a lot, besides having to use the Orange Light, which we're not doing in this hand. If Messenger Lotto was a fairy, then you can do the same thing with Rafflesia, but have an additional fairy as well. And it would have been 10 times better, but we did open that Messenger Lotto. So now we're going to special the Petting Cessor, use her effect, and get the Pudding Cess, and now it's just standard combo, right? Except we only have one Messenger Lotto in deck, so that is something to note. We're going to make Glass Souffle, detach anything but the Pudding Cess, target herself, and we're going to overlay her for the chocolate. We're going to shuffle back with chocolate, activate Salon Chainlink 1, Chocolate Chainlink 2, so we're going to go ahead and special the Angeli, and we're going to set the Chateau. I love searching for one-ofs in a big old deck because it just... Where's my Chateau? Where is it? Okay, we found it. So we're going to set the Chateau. Again, you can set Ticket there. I've just been liking Chateau recently because I just don't like the way Ticket interacts with chocolate, but maybe searching Ticket's right. It might be, and I'm just being bad, but yeah, we're going to special with Angeli's effect. Again, if they ever try to hand trap you with anything not named Infinite Impermanence, you can just send the Gravedigger and sort of put a stop to all of that and burn them for 2k, which is very nice. We're going to special the Hoot Cake, banishing our teacher. And Hoot Cake is going to special our one and only Messenger Lotto. And unfortunately here, because we only have one Messenger Lotto, we're only going to get to search once this turn, which means we are not searching the Ticket here. We are going to grab the Promenade because we got to make sure we get this because this is the best card in our deck. It's what Madolche really ends on, besides, of course, you know, a double DD Crow, which I guess is all right. We're going to activate the Chateau, shuffling back the Angeli, and of course, Chocolate will proc. This should be in defense, but again, it's not going to matter in this particular hand. And the reason this should be in defense is if you can end your Sistar, your Glass Souffle, and the Hoot Cake specialed off of the Angeli, and you use Glass Souffle's attack targeting the Hoot Cake, it can't be destroyed by battle, and it's unaffected by monster effects. It makes it very hard to out and very good for follow-up. So that's one of the reasons here. Let's go ahead and special summon. You know what? We'll special the Madolche because I kind of want her in rotation because we do have the Promenade. Next, we are going to Xyz these for our favorite teacher. And then we're going to link these two off, unfortunately having to get rid of the Hoot Cake for the Sistar. And this is full combo, you know, insulated from Nibiru and just safe overall. I hope we've been able to see this Sistar. I'm just realizing it probably didn't see past that, which is unfortunate. But yeah, so now the Glass Souffle is going to activate. We're going to add the Pudding Cess and the Hoot Cake back to our hand. Well, you know what? We'll leave the Hoot Cake engraved for our Promenade. And we'll send this back to the extra deck. And then you end with, we're going to set 2 cards. You're going to end with a Rafflesia Gravedigger Negate, which is really good and protects you from hand traps. The good old Sistar protecting your back row. The Glass Souffle double DD Crow or double Orange Light as we saw in the first combo. We have the Orange Light and we have a Chalice. It's a lot of interrupts with a lot of follow-up. So yeah, that's going to do it for this hand test video. I think I showed a lot of what Madolche can do and how it can play going second as well. This is the deck I've been enjoying a lot recently, so I hope you guys had a blast too. If you did, like this video, subscribe. This has been Aaron from Top Tier Gaming. Bye, YouTube.